So today is the feast day of Our Lady of Lourdes. What a beautiful day. You know, I've prayed a lot of novenas in my life, but I'm not sure I've ever prayed a novena to Our Lady of Lourdes. But it's kind of strange how things happen. As you know, many of you know, I've been recovering from these 2 back-to-back spinal surgeries, and it's been a long road. But it's given me an opportunity to spend a lot of time in prayer. I'm spending a lot of time either on ice or on heat. And so I've been, because we did a pilgrimage last year to Lourdes. We went to Fatima, Lourdes, and Medjugorje. Those places have become very dear to me. And in any event, I started, and from that pilgrimage, when I came back, I was all in, and I was watching the masses at Lourdes and Fatima and Medjugorje, and I was doing the Rosary in the grotto, and just going and just spending time there doing my own prayers while seeing the grotto live on TV. So I've been doing a lot of that lately. I've been, I'd stepped away from doing daily Mass for a number of years because of work busyness. And this has been an opportunity for me to go back to, because I'm not able to get out as often as I would have before when I was driving. And I've been attending daily Mass on TV. And I don't want to go into all that, except that this morning, sometimes I get a little nudge, and I got woken up. But this morning I was just woken up at 3:33 a.m. Now, usually for me, 3 o'clock, 3:30, that's a sign, pray the Divine Mercy Chaplet. But instead, I looked at the clock, and I'm like, okay, I'm exhausted. I'm going to put my Hallow routine on, and I'll just pray that while I'm resting. And so I put the Hallow routine on, and at the end of my first set of routines is the Rosary. So I started to do the Rosary came up with Jonathan Rumi, and I said, I always been doing what I've been doing, I don't know, for weeks now, is pausing that, putting on the live either Lourdes or Fatima video live on TV. And usually I go to the grotto, and of course today being the feast day of Our Lady, I wanted to go to the grotto in Lourdes. So I went to my live version of the grotto, and instead of being at the grotto, they were in the sanctuary, or they were actually assembling in the sanctuary at Lourdes for Mass. And I thought, this is awesome. I can do my Mass. I'll do my Rosary after in the grotto, and I'll do my Mass. Well, what a treat. I mean, it was an amazing, beautiful, beautiful Mass. And of course, it was in some of it was in English, most of it was in French. It was a lot in Italian. Of course, I speak fluent Italian. So for me, I felt even in the other languages they were using, there's just such a commonality in our faith. We know our liturgy. We know, as Catholics, we know the progression of the Mass. So we know, what's going on. And I was able to go through the whole thing so beautifully. And then they processed from the sanctuary to the grotto, where there were additional prayers that were said. And then I was able to pray the Rosary in the grotto, and then finish my novena, the last day of my novena, in the grotto. So that's what I'm sharing today. I'm not sharing a reading. I'm not sharing anything else. I was compelled to come out and share that today. But the thing is, it's just, God is so good. He's so amazing. And he does for me what I cannot do. But I know during this novena, I pray often for for those who the Lord knows need the prayers. And I pray often for those among the living and the dead who have no one to pray for them. That's always part of my prayer on a daily basis. Whenever I'm praying, I always pray for those among the living and the dead who have no one to pray for them. I know the Lord knows who they are, and he can take those prayers and use them as he wills. But in particular, during this novena, I've been praying not only for personal intentions, but I've been praying for people who need healing. those who I know, those who have been recommended to me, those who have asked for prayers, those within our families, and for anybody who needs a healing of mind, body, soul, and spirit. The Lord knows who they are. I don't have to know. And I've also been I've done these little books when we went on our pilgrimages and brought those to the shrines that we went to the masses, lit candles, and I brought all of those prayers. I've been bringing those with me through this novena. And so today I brought them to the grotto. Not live, me physically there, but live, my heart there in the grotto at Lourdes. So that's it for today, my friends. I pray that you have a blessed and a glorious day. I pray that no matter what it is that you deal with today, whether it's joyous and wonderful or whether it's a challenge, it's an opportunity to draw closer to Christ, to draw deeper into his sacred heart that just burns with love for us, and that it's an opportunity for self-knowledge and self-growth. I know it is for me on a daily basis. It's an opportunity for me to draw closer to Christ. It's an opportunity for me to get to know myself a little better, to get to know my strengths and my weaknesses, to get to know the things that I want to change, and I got to work on those things. And also, I pray that along the journey that you find joy, because his peace, his joy, there's nothing like it. Love you. Have a blessed day. And happy feast day of Our Lady of Lourdes.